Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cranbourne East Secondary Podcast. Today, we're doing our second last episode for the year. I know you might miss us. So today, we're doing a part 2 of the Wellbeing team. Last week, we had the ladies. So this week, with, of course, Mr. Young per usual, we also have 2 special guests today as well. Would you guys like to introduce yourself, starting with Sam?
Hi, my name is Sam. I am the Wellbeing officer or counselor for the year 9s and 10s. How you guys going?
And I'm Todd, aka Todd the Youth Worker, of course, part of Wellbeing here at the school.
Awesome. Thanks for coming for the both of you. For those of you who are looking at this video wondering, oh, how come we're starting to group together? So restrictions are easing, which is good. Finally, now we don't need 4 screens. It's nice and close. Here like this. I feel even close to you guys right now, actually. It feels so nice, you know? So let's get started with our questions for the day. Last week we asked the ladies as well why they chose wellbeing and counseling as a career. And tell you what, we had one quite stock standard response and one very weird, funny response. Now, I'm not going to say whose is who. I wonder if any of your wellbeing counseling careers started with any cartoons as well. So how about you, Sam? How did you start your wellbeing career?
Well, definitely did not start with a cartoon. It started, I guess, as I was just in uni at the time, and I kind of enjoyed psychology. I kind of enjoyed working with people and talking. I guess you noticed during this podcast that I talk a lot. So I just kind of like connecting and talking to people. And I was like, hey, listen, what's a job I can get paid to be a kid at school and listen to people and also have fun and kind of helping people? So wellbeing just kind of popped up for me. So it was kind of like something I was like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this and see how it goes. So we chucked our head in, and so far it has gone really well. It's been really smooth and I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's what got me into wellbeing. So very substandard answer. I pretty much fell into it. I like people, I like talking, and it just kind of happened. And yeah, just kind of manifested. Here I am.
I mean, like, you always gotta follow your passion. So like, if your passion is talking and communicating, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Well said.
How about you, Todd?
My journey's been a little bit different, not cartoon based, but a little bit different. I'll try and sort of, shorten it up. But I finished school and didn't know sort of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. Typical, but I was playing with cars, pulling them apart, and not necessarily being able to put them back together. So I went and did an automotive apprenticeship. So became a qualified motor mechanic, and did all that side of stuff and got all the skills and the knowledge and ticked all those boxes off. And then I was getting to the end, I'd done that for probably 5 or 6 years. And then in 2010, I went to Africa for a trip.
Motherland. Almost there.
And that was the game changer. I was sort of at a crossroads before going, and I just felt really comfortable and over there. And I just came back sprouting off about wanting to change the world, and connect with people and stop working on sort of machines and be more people focused. And I managed to sprout off all those things and all that positivity and all that passion in some interviews. And I managed to sneak into a job in DHS, doing some public housing and some sort of counselling sort of stuff there. And then I wiggled through that sort of stream into youth justice. So some of the kids, supporting some of the kids that maybe have been in a little bit of trouble with the law. In and out of the youth justice centres and the prisons, and then wiggled my way down to Cranbourne East as a youth worker.
Awesome. So, for the both of you, is Cranbourne East your first schools, or have you worked at multiple schools? We'll start with Sam first.
Man, Cranbourne East has been my first school. So yeah, Cranbourne East, man, East Side,
Yeah, and same for me. First school.
Yeah.
That means like all of us, our first school is Cranbourne East.
Really? Oh wow!
First school as well.
Hey, God.
Yes.
Yes.
The universe aligns people.
Awesome. So I guess one thing I'm really curious about, Todd, is, when most kids see you out in the Agora, there's usually two things. Either number one, you're moving stuff into Breakfast Club, or number two, you're doing slacklining. So where did that passion for slacklining come in? And like, did you learn it in Africa, for example, or was there like doing your youth justice years? Like, when did you pick up slacklining?
It's a good question, actually, because it's not something that I even really knew about, or I didn't source myself, intentionally. I was doing some indoor rock climbing and some bouldering, which is basically rock climbing, but without the ropes and harnesses, just sort of a bit more dynamic and whatnot. And the indoor climbing center set one up inside as sort of a bit of cross training. And I was intrigued. I was the same sort of questions, like, what is this contraption? What's going on here?
Sorry.
Exactly. And, with the inability to have a climbing wall at home, I ended up getting my own slacklining kit at home and practicing at home, on and off. So when I started here at the school and I started sort of racking my brains about, all right, what can I bring to the school? What's going to be interesting and different and engaging? And for kids, I spoke to Mandy and I had an interesting conversation. I'm like, so slacklining. She's like, what is it? I'm like, well, it's kind of like tightrope walking, but not, but balancing, but not, but it's kind of safe, but kind of not. Like, but yeah, so far so good. Touch wood, everyone survived, and it's certainly a lot more difficult than you would think. I use it as a really good analogy in terms of school, actually, in terms of those little adjustments. If you're facing a year like we've had this year, and something goes wrong, you're sort of slightly off balance. You don't want to make a huge, dramatic correction and go off in another direction. You just want to try and recenter yourself and keep moving towards your goal. So I like that as a little analogy too.
Awesome.
That's deep. That's really deep.
Never thought about it like that. So that's what Todd's bringing to our school. Sam, in terms of what you're bringing to the school, I think one thing that everyone always notices is when I talk to students and I'm like, hey, have you been linked in with a wellbeing officer? And they're like, oh yeah, I have. And then when I say, which one? They're like, oh, the one with the amazing sense of fashion, whether it's the really good shoes or the hat or even the scarf. Like, I don't think I could ever pull off what you pull off, Sam. So, I think, where do you get your, ideas from in terms of like what to wear, or where do you get your clothing from? Do you get sponsored or anything like that to be a model?
First of all, I'm flattered. Second thing is, I would love to be sponsored. If anyone has any connections with Salvatore Ferragamo or Balenciaga or Tom Ford or Tom Brown, please hit a brother up. Don't withhold such contacts. Sharing is caring. Nah, man. Like, one thing is like, I'll just, for background information, like how I got into fashion or how I started wanting to dress up better is because my mentor was like, Sam, you've been in the friendship zone for long. You gotta dress, first of all, not to get out of the friendship zone, but to feel good about yourself and give yourself confidence. So he took me away from putting on, the Axe cologne and was introducing me to better stuff. And that's when I think the passion started for me, and my wife was also into fashion, so we met, and then she started like kind of inspiring me with how to dress and stuff like that. So from then I just joined Instagram, not for the girls, but to just get fashion inspiration from around and that kind of stuff. So that became something I really wanted to try, and as a way to express myself without obviously saying a lot of words, but to express myself. There is this study that was done a while ago. It says people normally take about 90 seconds to form an impression about you. So from the moment people meet you, before you say a word, they've got about 90 seconds. And 95% of communication in the world is nonverbal communication. So that means we can only speak for 5%. So as part of my role, as part of well-being, as part of just trying to express myself without necessarily saying hi, fashion became a passion for me. So yeah, just trying to make that statement, and sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, but I guess the main thing for me is, yeah, man, enjoy it and express yourself in that way. But where do I shop? Well, I'm a big online shopper. I love my sales. I don't buy anything full price. I would love to, but I love my sales.
I agree.
So my favorite go-to shop is Top Man. It's a UK-based shop. Jack London, Top Man, Jack London, and then I just like to go to DFO where there's always a sale 24/7. So that's where I normally go to. Yeah.
Wait, isn't Top Man like removed from most stores nowadays?
Yeah, it has been removed, but you can, like, it's mostly online for me now, because like the only Top Man that was there was in the city, and I can't be really bothered going to the city or High Point. So I'm like, what's the closest thing? So it's either you can shop Top Man in ASOS or just go directly to the line, but shipping from UK costs an arm and a leg. So I would not recommend that. I would not recommend,
especially when you're trying to buy on sale as well.
Yes. A tip for those who want to get into fashion but also have a tight pocket like myself, write down every holiday of the year, every single holiday, Queen's birthday, New Year's, Christmas, Boxing Day, whatever holiday there is, they're gonna have like 30% off to 40% off. That is when you do your shopping. Every holiday, that is when you do your shopping.
I do a thing where it's like, so I shop at Maya a lot, but I do a thing where I have a sibling who works for Maya. So I'm like, I'll wait for a sale and then I'll use the family discount as well. So it's like more discount.
Yeah. Double tap, man. That's like Zombieland kind of thing, like double tap.
Yes, like, see ya, thank you.
Double tap, man. Sale on sale.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love how Sam and Mr. Young are just vibing with each other about fashion, man. And me and Todd are just like, yeah, straight over us. Oh man, that's so funny. So, Mr. Young, what do you feel like that you've brought to our school?
Oh, okay. So I would say that my biggest contribution would be baked goods. So like usually you've tasted some of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I would bake some cookies usually to share. On Valentine's Day, I also kind of outdid myself a little and did red velvet cupcakes with cream cheese frosting. But one that I'm still waiting to remake again since last year, since I did placement here, is lemon bars.
So good.
Yeah, lemon bars is probably the favorite, I think.
Yep. That's all right.
Very, very important backup question is, do you know where Wellbeing is?
Yeah.
Do you know where
Well, actually, why don't you say that out loud for us so like everyone else knows where Wellbeing is as well?
Wow, very good segue.
Hey.
And to support the delivery of delicious sweet treats, absolutely. So we're up where all the new classrooms are actually. So we're up behind the Orange building. So if you go up behind the Orange building and then beyond the Orange portables, we've got beautiful new signage as well. So it's almost like you're leaving the school and then you turn at the new signage and you'll see us there with the doctors and schools and our amazing Wellbeing Centre.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe some deliveries need to happen then from time to time.
Yes.
I think maybe you were still new at the school, so in Valentine's you couldn't get down here.
Yeah.
So that's totally forgivable. But complete offenders, we do not take lightly to that, sir.
Okay.
We definitely need the Wellbeing team to help us out because I don't know, I think Mr. Young realized, because I told him afterwards, but last year he actually caused quite a stir in my Year 10 office. It was almost like a Captain America, Tony Stark civil war in the Year 10 office, because what happened was when he was on placements at our school, the first time he came in, he brought some red velvet cookies. And probably a week later, he brought in his lemon bars. And I kid you not, the teachers in my office were debating with fiery passion. I'm not even joking. I haven't seen the debate like that ever since and ever again, right? About which of Mr. Young's baked goods was the best one, right? It was like argument about this one was a little bit with the nice tang to it because of the lemon to break up the balance. Everyone became like MasterChef judges, and I've never heard that before. And so
Ramses.
we might need to send some down to the Wellbeing team to, finally call the decision once and for all. Yeah.
Call it.
Yeah.
Happy to be the definitive vote. Absolutely.
Without tasting them, I will say I'm a Royal Velvet fan. I even had Royal Velvet cake at my wedding. So mostly I'm in the Royal Velvet team without tasting it.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
What? Okay, so kind of following up with that question, my question to you now is, what did you bring to Chinese?
What did I bring to CSC? Well, we brought this podcast, number one. Number two, I think I brought the card game Magic the Gathering in, which is a trading card game that the club runs on Tuesdays. We teach the kids how to play, some problem-solving skills. This third one, I'm not going to take credit for it, but I'm going to give it a shout out anyway. But the Nintendo Switch Club has been quite successful this year as well. So I didn't actually come up with it. One of our current ex-year 12s, because he just graduated this year, Eliza, looking at you, buddy. He actually started the club. And so now we just bring in Nintendo Switches. We play on Friday lunchtimes. It used to be Super Smash Brothers Club, but now we're going to open up to Mario Kart as well, Mario Party, whole bunch of Nintendo games. Yeah, always looking forward to playing those games. That's what I brought. Yeah. But now that we're talking about the podcast anyway, and we've been getting more and more subscribers lately, which is pretty good. I think the last I checked, we're like 147. So Wellbeing team, we're looking at you. Still trying to catch up to your 180 or so. Do you want to share with us, either Todd or Sam? What's your Wellbeing YouTube channel about, and what's the name of it, so we can also plug it for our listeners?
Well, my YouTube channel name is Sam from Wellbeing, I believe. I only have one video there or two videos there. I haven't been really active on it. So, but in 2021, that's gonna change. It's gonna be a YouTube channel where we're gonna be expressing ourselves, a channel where we're gonna make it exciting, where we're gonna have games there, a lot of collaboration with the counselors around, a lot of collaboration with Todd about dodgeball we're planning to be doing next year. Gonna be planning to be doing a little bit of acting competitions. We're also planning to be starting a Finer Things club. So it's gonna be that place where it's gonna be dope, and we're also trying to put in a new music club for those who really want to appreciate music. So it's gonna be very active in 2021. We're still notching out what exactly it will look like, but we want to create a space for everyone. But yeah, this year I think I only have 2 to 3 videos, so I wasn't really active on it. But 2021, watch the space.
Yeah, this year was well, as the youth worker, my job is to run programs with youth, and obviously being stuck at home, that's where it got a little bit tricky for me. So my best course of action was to launch it onto YouTube. When I'm not really that tech savvy, so it was a lot of new learning, new skills for me. But the content that was going up there I was getting some feedback from students, feedback from staff as well, and just trying to find a really interesting balance of stuff, between sort of mindful meditation, some really internally focused, well-being activities, collaborating with all of our counsellors as well in regards to their hobbies, their interests, their motivations, some crazy, silly sort of stuff just out there, trying to just break up the monotony of being at home and just a bit of entertainment, a bit of lightheartedness, some cooking, a bit of self-improvement, nutrition, just anything and everything I could really, we could come bring to the table.
Yeah.
But it all falls under, I think it's CSC Wellbeing. Todd the Youth Worker is my informal slogan. It's just sort of caught on. But you can YouTube that and you can find me doing anything and everything silly.
That's great. Yeah. I think the thing with YouTube that's interesting is that it can kind of be like a little bit like a rabbit hole, in my opinion, because like Mr. Young and I, we started our podcast. We're like, you know what? We're not going to spend too much time on this, not going to spend too much money on this. We're not going to do anything, right? And before I know it, I think the 4th or 5th episode in, we're getting feedback from students as well. And then, we're getting some feedback saying, oh, the quality's not as great. So I'm like, do I actually want to invest in a better camera and better microphone? And before we knew it, I chucked in the $100+ and I'm using I don't know, viewers, have you noticed difference? Hopefully you have. It's a little bit cleaner, crisper camera now, hopefully. So yeah, who knows? The more views we get, who knows? Maybe I'll start investing more as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll invest in a mic or something just to help us out.
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe we should. Are we getting paid for today? Is that how this works?
Oh, yeah, man. Like, there should be more investment in that.
Well, what I can offer is that if I am bringing my camera to school, you can loan it. I don't mind you loaning it if I'm not uploading anything. So if you're uploading during school time, and let me know the day beforehand, I'll bring in my camera. It's records in 1080p, dual microphone. Just saying, get plenty of love to go around.
I'll bring in baked goods.
And baked goods. Yep. Yep. It's like a team effort. So it's not like subscribe to Wellbeing or podcast. No. Subscribe to both Wellbeing and podcast. And Sam.
Yeah.
Great. All right, cool. So now I guess we got some time still. I reckon we can talk a bit more about any plans for the holidays, anyone? I mean, school holidays is literally coming straight up. Like, I know with COVID, we can't really travel. So does anyone here have any idea where you may or may not be going over the break? Maybe I'll start with Sam. You got any plans?
This holiday plans, because I got a little bub now. I can be officially called Papi Loco. So I think like this holidays, I just want to be spending more time with him and that, and building a bond. He's now recognizing faces and that. So he's now at that point where he's recognizing faces and voices a little bit more. So I think it's a great time to be coming into holiday. Borders between Melbourne and Perth are opening up. So my parents will hopefully be touching down to see the baby for the first time. I think it'll be 4 months by then. So, and I also did my backyard. So if I'm any traveling, I'm traveling to my backyard for a barbecue. And that's it. So I'll be just at home, just lounging around. So not a lot of big plans, but also big plans by being at home and just being with family. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Also is important.
Especially for newborns.
Yeah. Good one. Well, Sam and I we went camping. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we went camping 2 weeks ago. We went out to Gembrook and went swimming in waterfalls and rock climbing and a nice fire, sleeping in the swags under the stars. So it was good, and it sparked me to get, now that 2020 is almost over and the holidays are going to be here.
Yep.
To get back out there camping again. So the dusted the caravan off. So we're going away, myself and my family, in January. I'm going to go down the Great Ocean Road for about a week.
Wow.
So that'll be good.
Yeah.
And then just do some other bits and pieces with the fam, some bike riding and bits and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, Todd got me recently into BMX bike riding, so we might just catch up, do some rides.
Nice.
Watch me stack a little bit, but yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Good plan, man.
Mm.
It's great to hear that you two also hang out outside as well. That's really good. Yeah. I mean,
we kind of do.
Yeah, we kind of do. Mr. Young and I, we just go out to eat.
Yeah.
A lot.
Very good. Very good decision.
Yeah.
And it's usually just desserts.
Yeah, so like we'll just catch up for desserts, eating different types of Asian desserts. Usually, like even no matter how cold it is, I always just order like it's this like shaved ice type of dessert where they put like mangoes on it, and they put like they put mango, mix it together with cream, they blend it together, and then they freeze it, and then they process it to be like ice tower, and just love mangoes. So that's what we just do. We just eat, and sometimes play video games.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Or like when we play Magic the Gathering as well.
Yeah, we did actually. Sometimes he came over with Mr. Chamberlain as well, and one of my other friends who played 4-player Magic. That goes for like at least 3 hours because of the format we're playing. So it doesn't normally take 3 hours. Sometimes the game only takes like 10 minutes, but because of the format we're playing, it was like a 3-hour one.
And it's like really complex when you play with science teachers because everyone just overthinks everything.
Analytical, yeah. Any plans this year?
Oh, for me, it's going to be definitely gym and baking. But then I'm also thinking of going down to Dramana for my New Year's. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Dramana.
pretty good chill time. Some hot beach weather.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, can't wait to go to the beach. Haven't been to the beach in like a year and a half, I reckon.
Whoa.
Yeah. COVID has not helped. Yeah.
You need to go there, man. You need to get up the beach.
Yeah, I mean, I do plan to. Well, it's not a beachy area, but it's a very, there's definitely a lot of lakes and rivers out here. I plan to go up to Bright on the school holidays.
Hey.
So I personally haven't been before, but, you know, I'm hearing from my wife, she says it's great. She went with her family, so got a few days over there booked and ready to go. Can't wait to go check out Bright. But when I'm not at Bright, number one, kind of like Sam, gardening, right? Fixing up my backyard. And number two, just playing the Nintendo Switch, because I have this one game that, like Sam said, and Todd also agreed with, never buy things at full price, right? It was probably on sale, how long ago? Probably in September. That was when it was on sale from $70 to like probably half price. Haven't touched it because I've played the prequels before, and each one I easily threw in like close to 280 hours each. Yeah. So that's why, even though I have the game, I'm like, nope, I'm just going to wait till school holiday so I can just camp and just smash it out.
Can I guess the game?
Guess it.
Final Fantasy?
Nah, they're not that long. Final Fantasies aren't that long. Final Fantasies can range from like, 70 to 120 maybe. But no, this game's called Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitive edition. Very, yeah, so a lot of time.
Both of them are like, whoa.
No Call of Duty.
Yeah, online gaming, that can be forever. But yeah, but you know, speaking of our holidays and you know what we're gonna be playing, or now that we have the extra time, does anyone have any recommendations for like TV shows or movies to potentially watch? Maybe I'll start with Todd.
Oh, I was a late comer to Schitt's Creek, which I just finished, which I thoroughly recommend because I find it's really, it's not very often that you actually sort of really connect with so many characters in a particular TV show. Like, I feel like there's usually one or maybe two that you sort of like, yeah, they're my favorites. But I feel like Schitt's Creek, the character development was so good and so thorough, robust, or I don't know how they did it, that you just connect with every character. And so you just so invested. So that, if anyone hasn't seen it, I know I'm a bit late to the table with that one, but that is definitely one of my recommendations. And movie-wise, I don't know, I'm a bit old school. Anything with Denzel in it, basically, I'm coming back around, you know, like your Equalizers, your Training Days, you know, some old school Denzel just tearing shit up, you know. It's just, sometimes you just need to watch that.
Cool.
Good choices, man. Denzel, Training Day.
Yeah.
Okay. I see that. We can never watch Training Day. Yeah. For me, man, I just discovered anime. So right now I'm like knee deep in anime at the moment. If I was gonna recommend anything, I'll recommend One Piece. Great show. Don't do the dubbed. Doesn't do it justice. Go with the original version. I'll do Demon Slayer because the movies are also about to come out, so that's really good. I would do, these are animes by the way, and I would do Attack on Titans because the final season is coming out and it came out like on Monday.
It's out now.
Sorry?
It's out now.
Yes, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. You can watch it on Crunchyroll or Anime Lab.
It's not going.
He doesn't know yet. He does. If you get into it, you get into it. My Hero Academia. So right now I'm just anime 24/7. Movies though. Man, I'm into John Wick at the moment, man. I'm just recommending John Wick. If you're under 15, please do not watch John Wick. But for those 15 and mature audiences, I would say watch John Wick. Yeah, and funny thing is, I'm into romantic comedies. So I'm into my romantic comedies. The older, the better. So I'm one of those people who watches older movies like 3-4 times. So Wedding Crashers, one of my favorite comedies. What you call this? How to lose a guy in 10 ways.
10 days.
In 10 days. You see, 10 days.
Classic.
The Proposal. Those are my kind of movies. And then I just go anime after that. So yeah. And then just to feel like I've got hair on my chest, I'll go on to the extreme end of violence, which will be probably John Wick and Quentin Tarantino movies.
Oh yeah.
I would recommend, if you haven't watched Django, to watch Django. Again, if you're over 15, mature audiences, please.
If you're a viewer, if you're a viewer and you don't know how to spell Django, I think it's D-J-A-N.
It'll be in the description down below anyway.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Lone, do you have a movie or a show that you would recommend?
My TV show, because I know a lot of our listeners are huge gamers and they always want us to talk more about video games. So we'll probably choose different episodes next year to talk about different games as well. But if you really are into not just gaming, but the history of gaming, I highly recommend High Score on Netflix. There's a few episodes around half an hour each. And even if you're not a gamer, it's really good just to see how the gaming industry has changed over time. So each episode is based on one revolutionary technology that caused gaming to change forever. So like starts with like arcade machines first, and then it became the home console, and then it becomes like portable consoles, and then it finishes the last one with like online gaming. How online, because I mean these days we take it for granted the idea of two computers connecting with each other from a distance to do something and that happens at the same time. If you can imagine computers back then, you could only just control one computer and one thing. So the idea that back then that they were able to use Doom, which was the first game, Doom, the online game, to have one player on one side shoot and you on the other side actually getting hit, and that eventually evolving to COD and so on, it's just crazy. And even for me, I remember I went to, what's the gaming convention? PAX. I went to PAX a few years ago with Mr. Chamberlain. And I remember the first time I saw VR headsets being able to communicate with each other as well. That was a huge shock to me because VR had only come out for a few years. We can just play with yourself. Then I was like, whoa, I'm literally like versing my mate. You know, it was really crazy. So High Score, if you're a gamer, or even if you're not, even history buffs, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Nice one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even like people who are a bit younger might not know this, but it's like even when we tried to go online to play games like RuneScape, like those times it was like you turn the internet on and then and then exactly. So connecting to the internet was extremely slow, and then if your parents wanted to use landline, your internet cuts out. You can't play anymore. That was technology back then. Like even when I was in, I don't know, like probably
I would say 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago.
I was gonna say like when I was in grade 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite good.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. Young?
Oh, okay. So we had a few animes being listed. I have another anime to recommend, and it is a bit of a weird title. It's called That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. So what happens is we have a salary worker who passes away and then he turns into a slime in an alternate world. And that whole anime is basically about him just kind of gaining power and then like trying to figure out what's happened to him. It kind of sounds like it's a bit silly, but I promise you, within the first episode, you're gonna get hooked.
Yeah, I think some gaming context, Mr. Jung, you might want to describe why a slime is used. You can talk about like Dragon Quest, for example.
Yeah.
Why choosing slime? Why not time I was reincarnated as a rabbit, for example?
Yeah,
why
true.
slime?
Okay, so in terms of gaming, especially if you played MapleStory, basically slimes are one of the weakest monsters you fight against. Usually it's like
Level
if
1.
you start off in a new game, your first task is to defeat a slime. And so this character basically got reincarnated as a slime and then turns into probably one of the most OP monsters in the whole universe. And you see that whole process and it's extremely fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was interesting.
Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Movie to watch, well, I'm going to watch, maybe a recommendation is The Grinch, just for the whole like Christmas season stuff.
Not the cartoon one, yeah?
Yeah, just the
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Live action, the only live action that was actually good.
Yeah, if you actually read up about Jim Carrey, about that story, he actually had to train himself in like torture resistance to take on that role, because every day he had to sit still to put on that amount of makeup. It took him like at least 4 hours per day to put on makeup. And he actually had to go have like, I think CIA or someone come in to talk to him about how to resist torture, to actually have him put on that makeup every day. So yeah, props to the guy. So definitely, yeah, good movie though. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much, lads, for coming on and sharing a bit about why you both are passionate about what you guys are passionate about, not just with well-being, but also how you guys integrate your other passions into what you do. And I feel like Mr. Jung and myself, we kind of try to do the same for our teaching as well. We kind of use like gaming or anime examples as well. So it's really great. And the fact that we're all first-time CESers, new squad from now on. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for listening today. At the end of this video, there will be the buttons where you can get linked to the different YouTube channels as well. Descriptions for them are down below as well, with audio recommendations of today's shows, and also a feedback form to give us future suggestions of future guests. And we'll see if we'll be doing more episodes next year. Let's see. But until then, catch you all around.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.